Hello, what's going on? It's Quentin, and I'm here doing another Poetry Someday that I promised from I think like around 7, 8 months ago. I don't really remember when. Remember I had a mustache, so it was November. But yeah, I did The Storm by John Donne, and now I'm doing The Calm finally because The Calm is an incredible capstone to that dyad of poems. I really enjoy what it does. The idea that the storm is this thing that comes in and just really completely from the ground up shakes the world for Don, shakes his faith in everything. Basically, his faith in language, his faith. I don't know what they're doing. His faith in language, his faith in the nature of reality, his faith in just about everything. He sees so much crazy irrationalities, waves like a rolling trench before them through. What is more horrific than a rolling trench, a hole that can roll, and it's like a wall of wave that might kill you? It is such a deeply traumatic experience, portrayed perfectly through language, that it totally shakes him to his core and he can no longer make sense of life. The calm picks up after that note of trauma, and you have the storm, but it's not a good calm. It's a dead calm. There's no motivation. There's no winds to take you anywhere. I'll read it and we'll talk about it. The calm. Our storm is past, and that storm's tyrannous rage, a stupid calm, but nothing it doth swage. The fable is inverted, and far more a block afflicts now than a stork before. Storms chafe, and soon wear out themselves, or us. In calms heaven laughs to see us languish thus, as steady as I can wish that my thoughts were, smooth as thy mistress glass, or what shines there the sea is now, and as the isles which we seek, and when we can move, our ships rooted be. As water did in storms, now pitch runs out, as lead when a fired church becomes one spout, and all our beauty and our trim decays, like courts removing, or like ended plays. The fighting place, now seamen's rags supply, and all the tackling is a frippery. No use of lanthorns, and in one place lay feathers and dust, today and yesterday. Earth's hollownesses, which the world's lungs are, have no more wind than the upper vault of air. We can nor lost friends, nor sought foes recover, but meteor-like, save that we move not, hover. Only the calenture together draws dear friends, which meet dead in great fish's jaws, and on the hatches as on altars lies each one his own priest and own sacrifice. Who live that miracles do who live that miracle do multiply, where walkers in hot ovens do not die. If, in despite of these, we swim that hath no more refreshing than our brimstone bath, but from the sea into the ship we turn, like parboiled wretches on the coals to burn. Like Bajazet encaged, the shepherds scoff, or like slack-sinewed Samson, his hair off, languish our ships. Now, as a myriad of ants durst the emperor's love-snake invade, the crawling galleys, seagulls, finny chips, might brave our pinnaces, now bed-rid ships. Whether a rotten state in hope of gain, or to disuse me from the queasy pain of being beloved and loving, or the thirst of honour or fair death, outpushed me first, I lose my end. For here, as well as I, a desperate may live, and a coward die. Stag, dog, and all which from or towards flies, is paid with life, or prey, or doing dies. Fate grudges us all, and doth subtly lay a scourge against which we all forget to pray. He that at sea prays for more wind, as well under the poles may beg cold, heat, and hell. What are we then? How little more, alas, is man now than before he was nothing. For us, we are for nothing fit, chance or ourselves still disproportionate. We have no power, no will, no sense. I lie. I should not then thus feel this misery. It is so, so sad. It's such a sad poem. You think about that, the unconscious, or the not the unconscious, but these invisible forces that come in and just batter the ship, just beat it to a pulp. And he's wishing for more wind to go somewhere because there's nothing to take him anywhere. You need a little bit of, be it something internal, a kind of internal strife that the wind would stand for, or that external, um, like the workings of God that come in invisibly and move things along, and that shake John Donne up in the first poem. Don't have access to them, and he can't go anywhere. There's no motivation. There's no will of God to put you through. It's just horrific. And there's a lot going on in these lines that makes it read less cacophonous, but still like very much like a calm. It reads languidly, and it's weird because he doesn't really, he kind of emphasizes his rhymes in this one compared to the storm. But the storm, he's burying them to show you that the way that the storm comes in and just roots up all structure. In this one, there's far more end stopping than there was in the storm, right? Storms chafe and soon wear out themselves or us. In calms, heaven laughs to see us languish thus. It's so deeply sad, but it sounds very good, right? I really enjoy this. Let's just go through it. A stupid calm, but nothing. Or our storm is past, and that storm's tyrannous rage. A stupid calm, but nothing it doth swage. There's nothing to come in and break that calm, and this is the fallout. The fable is inverted, far more a block afflicts now than historic before. That's a theme we're going to see running through, the inversion of what should be proper in this completely dead and motivationless space. And then you still do have that note of respect that I very much like about Renaissance poetry. As steady as I can wish that my thoughts were, smooth as thy mistress' glass, or what shines there the sea is now. Where he's talking to Mr. Christopher Brooke, and he's saying, smooth as your mistress's glass, and what shines there. Your wife is very beautiful, and as smooth and shiny as what's in her mirror is the sea. But it's not really like he's just finding a note of respect, but beneath it is a deep sadness. The sea is now. And as the isles which we seek when we can move, our ships rooted be. That's what I mentioned by the dead calm, where you can't go anywhere. There's no winds to blow you anywhere. Your ships are like rooted, right? But there's that, again, that paradox. Your ships on water are rooted, right? One of my favorite paradoxes in the whole thing, as water did in storms, now pitch runs out as lead when a fired church becomes one spout. As the church is burning, essentially, and note that this is where I get that idea of the storm partially being the workings of God. That the church is burning, and the pitch in the building is running out. It's melting, and it's running out and becoming a spout. That complete inversion involving the religious, right? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And just the way the lines sound, just the sheer sound. And all our beauty and our trim decays, like courts removing or like ended plays. There's something so dejected about the way that sounds, how simple and kind of like how smoothly that flows. That is very, very, I don't know. It's very languishy, right? Languishy. Okay. Anyways, let's just go on. We can, and another one of my favorite things, we can nor lost friends lost, nor sought foes recover. We can't recover the friends we lost or the foes we found. It's like what is that thought? The total stupidity of this, the intellectual drainedness is just so tangible in everything. One of the lines that I think might need a little bit of explanation, maybe you'll need to have the OED handy when you read this. Only the calenture together draws dear friends, which meet dead in great fish's jaws. The calenture was a disease that was reported to have made sailors think that the sea was green fields, and they would jump into the sea, believing it's like a meadow. So only the calenture together draws dear friends. They're only being united by sickness, and which meet dead in great fish's jaws. Oh, it is so brutal. And then there's the blasphemy of it all. And on hatches, as on altars, lies each one his own priest and own sacrifice. Don't think I need to explain that one too much. So yeah, it's a lot more simple, right, than the storm, I feel, but it's really really brutal, and I love that as he goes on, he comes to this weird realization where he's like, all certainty has been ripped from him, and he decides to try for one final note of knowledge, one final, this is how it is. We have no power, no will, no sense. Which is it's at least something certain at the end. He says, I lie. I should not then thus feel this misery. The one thing you thought you could be certain about, you can't. He doesn't even really affirm the other way of looking at it. He just says, oh, this must be a lie. Yeah. And just it's simpler. I'm looking here for stuff to discuss, but yeah, there's not really much to discuss because it's just a really well done and beautiful poem and a beautiful letter and a beautiful thing. There you go. Poetry Someday. Donne. Fantastic. Go watch The Storm, the one I did in The Storm. I love these poems. I'm so glad I studied this stuff because I would never have waded through the sections of this book that I did. I would never have went to the letters thinking that there would be good actual poetry in there. I thought it would all just be like, hey, I'm writing to you, and I'm just gonna throw out the occasional metaphor and break my lines and make everything metered. And no, that's not it at all, right? It's actually a great discussion, this and The Storm, about the nature of reality, the nature of the psyche, and the relationship to God. John Donne is one of the best writers when it comes to writing crises of faith that I've ever read. So, yeah, John Donne, the Calme, Poetry Someday, peace and groovy.